Let's focus now on the CBI investigation. What has it been focused on, centered upon for the last 1 week? Here's a look at who the CBI has summoned, who's been questioned so far in the case. The first thing that the CBI did in this particular case was to go ahead and take custody of the main accused, the accused rapist Sanjay Roy, who even at this point remains in CBI custody. And then you had a big development that came in just a few days ago when you had ASI Anup Datta also being called in for questioning, allegedly linked to the main accused, to Sanjay Roy. Now, there were some allegations also that Anup Datta was contacted by Sanjay Roy right after the crime, which is why his statement was extremely crucial. Besides that, the CBI's investigation has largely been focused on, in fact, Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, the former principal of RG Kar Hospital, so much so that he's been summoned every single day, grilled for 7 hours plus every single day. Now, beyond that, in the RG Kar Hospital itself, 4 PG trainee doctors have been questioned. 3 batchmates of the victim have also been questioned. And these 3 batchmates were the ones who were with her just before the crime took place and left the hospital after they all sat together, ordered in food and watched the Neeraj Chopra match at the Olympics. They left, but their statements are extremely crucial as to exactly what time they left and till when they were actually with the victim. So this is where the CBI, this is what the CBI investigation has covered right up until now. But like I said, there are still a whole lot of questions really about this particular case. And the biggest one that I see a lot of discussion on social media also over is whether this was rape or whether it was gang rape. And joining us now here on India Today is Nisha Menon, forensic expert, who will be breaking this down further for us on how really you establish whether it's a rape or a gang rape. Nisha, thank you very much for joining us here on India Today and taking the time out to be a part of this conversation. In this particular case, now, it's been over 10 days. We still don't know whether it's a rape or a gang rape. Can you first tell us what kind of forensic evidence is looked into to actually establish whether it's a rape or whether there were multiple accused, whether it was a gang rape?
Hi, Akshita. Good evening. In this particular case, where there are a lot of forensic evidences which is related to a sexual assault or a gang rape case or even a rape case, when we talk about the forensic evidences, it is just not restricted to the bodily fluid which is seized after the postmortem. It is all the type of evidences right from whatever is being collected from the crime scene. It may be blood spatter patterns also, blood patterns also. It may be residues which are there in the fingernail, on the body, swabs and smears on the genital areas inside the body and other crucial areas. So everything which is seized by the investigators or the crime scene management team is investigated. Now, when we are talking about this DNA profiling thing, there are multiple things. It is just not the bodily fluid which is collected from the victim's body. It is even the samples, the saliva samples which might be there on the body. It might be the fingernail samples. It might be some tissues which have got accumulated onto the body or to any nearby object which is found at the crime scene. So every important detail, every important exhibit which is collected from the crime scene is equally important as a forensic evidence in extracting what sort of crime and how many number of people have been involved in this particular crime.
Mm-hmm. In this particular case, and in general, actually, not just focusing on this particular case, how long does it take for a DNA profiling, for example, to take place? Does it take 10 days? Does it take, a month for those kind of tests to be conducted?
For DNA profiling, first of all, let me make it very clear. DNA is not as simple as you speak. It's a very cumbersome process. And when specifically there have been cases where there have been single perpetrator, only one single accused is there in a sexual assault or a rape case, and cases like this where it is suspected to be multiple or a gang rape. Now, DNA profiling in both of these cases is slightly different. When the bodily fluid or all the other exhibits which are collected like tissue samples, saliva, swabs, smears, everything is subjected to DNA profiling. And when DNA profiling is done, first of all, the profile which is generated, first of all, there is an elimination of the DNA profile of the victim, and only the profiles which are visible are fine. Then we come to know that there are like number of multiple profiles which have been there in that fluid. So once the elimination process is done, the number of perpetrator or number of accused that might be the samples of that particular profile of those people. And then subsequently a YSTR, that is Y chromosome, that is specially linked to the males, is tested, which is technically known as YSTR analysis is done. And we can segregate the number of male people's profile which has been generated in that particular sample. Now, talking about all these things put together, there are multiple factors which are linked in DNA analysis, and the time taken is exactly proportional to what type of sample it is. And it is a very difficult and cumbersome task for specifically DNA profiling when it's a mixture sample. It depends upon the ratio, the quantity, the quality of the samples which is collected. Everything plays a very crucial role. And for a DNA profiling, if it's a single perpetrator or a single accused, it generally takes approximately minimum of 2 weeks. And if it is a gang rape wherein multiple accused or multiple perpetrators are there, it might even take 2 months. It may be 1.5 months also, and completely depends upon the integrity of the sample which is collected and the type of sample which is collected.
What you're telling us is extremely interesting. If I were to focus on this particular case, if we were to get answers about whether this is a gang rape, at least based on forensic evidence, based on DNA profiling, you're telling us it could take up to 2 months.
It might take, depending upon sampling segregation. And that is the maximum time limit. And the minimum, like 2 weeks to 6 weeks, anyhow, it is going to take. It is not that simple as we speak.
Okay. All right. Very, very interesting. Thank you very much, Nisha, for joining us with your expert views really on this and breaking it down for us. I think what Nisha Menon has told us there it essentially tells you that this is an investigation that needs a lot more time. It will need a lot more effort also by authorities, particularly to answer the question that we're all asking right now, if there was more than one person involved in this crime. But so far, let me just break down for you what we know. There are a lot of claims, reports doing the rounds on social media. We just want to break down for you what the postmortem report has confirmed to counter some of these claims. First, that the victim's limbs were broken, highlighting the brutality of the crime. The postmortem report has confirmed that no limbs were broken. It's given details, of course, of 14 plus injuries on her body, but no limbs broken. There was also a claim and a viral video with that of in fact, a close friend of the family saying that the victim's pelvic girdle was broken. Again, not true. The postmortem report has confirmed that no fractures were found on the body. So pelvic girdle wasn't broken. And as horrific as that is, that did not happen. However, the brutality of the crime very much noted in the postmortem. Now, there's another claim, again doing the rounds on social media, that 150 grams of semen was found in the victim's vagina. And it was using this that you had a lot of conjecture that this is actually a case of gang rape. Now, the postmortem report has found, and here's where there was a lot of misinformation that was spread, that the weight of the internal and external genitalia was at 151 grams. So it wasn't really the amount of semen that was found, but the weight of the internal and external genitalia, that was 151 grams. So no, it wasn't the quantity of semen that indicates gang rape at any point. That investigation is still underway, and the postmortem, looking at the details that we have, hasn't at any point indicated in any way that there's evidence of a gang rape.